Greetings, my fellow gamers. We got a new blog post from ArenaNet. We've finally got some new details about the brand new raid wing in the next expansion, Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. And we've got some more information about convergences as well, since the convergences have been confirmed to be also included in this next expansion. So how are they going to be different, and how are they going to be the same compared to the Secrets of the Obscure convergences? Finally getting some more information on that. So let's jump right into it. Here we go. The return of raiding and convergences in Janthir Wilds. We are less than a month away from the launch of the Janthir Wilds expansion. It's creeping up, and there's plenty to be excited about. For the August 20 release, players can also look forward to the newest raid and convergences going live in the first major update in November. So again, the raid and convergence is going to be part of the first major update, which is roughly 3 months after the initial release of Janthir Wilds. So it's not going to be available straight away, but it is pretty soon still. It's going to be the first update after the initial release. You'll be able to explore a mysterious mountain region. As you ascend this mountain, you'll face off against opponents who won't go down without a fight. Players will also get to choose how to encounter these fights, either a 50-player convergence or the 10-player raid wing. So again, if you've been living under a rock, this is a pretty big deal. First new raid wing in 5 years, Wing 8. So that is pretty exciting, and we're finally gonna get some more information on how that is looking, how it's been cooking. This surprised me a little bit. Our team is currently hard at work developing this new raid. For some reason, I kind of assumed that they'd probably be almost done with it by this point. It sounds like they're still kind of right in the thick of it, which I suppose makes sense with this new release schedule. It's funny just thinking about that they're just still working on it right now, even though the initial release is right around the corner. Yeah, they just mentioned they're not going to be able to provide too many details, but we are getting a pretty good first look into how it's going to, what to expect and how it compares to convergences. Since they are, both instanced content, what's going to be the difference between the two of them? We've got this lovely screenshot here. Potentially, I believe this is going to be where the convergence and the raid takes place. I'm not sure if this is also going to be sort of a part of the open world map or not, but it does look kind of similar to the screenshots that we've got so far of that first map, but it's more mountainy, more mountainous terrain, so perhaps not. So, in the past, raids were self-contained instances with their own stories built for 10-player groups. Our goal with the upcoming raid is to allow players to experience the story in a way that works best for them. The raid will be integrated into the main storyline, and players who might be hesitant to join a raid group will be able to enjoy their own personal narrative. The 50-player version, built as a convergence, similar in structure to those found in the SOTO convergences, and those participating in the 10-player raid will find the story to be more heroic, with a focus on the formidable enemies they face rather than the NPCs involved in the narrative. So this is sort of our first kind of glimpse into what might the difference be between the raid and the convergence. It seems like there is actually going to be a difference other than just the amount of players. So it says actually the story is going to be more heroic, which is a bit vague, I feel, but focus on more the enemies rather than a focus on the NPCs. With the raid. So as many people expected, it sounds like the raid is going to be a bit harder, and they do reinforce that a bit later. We'll get to that. So it definitely looks like the raid is going to be harder, and the convergence is going to be a little bit easier, a little bit more, accessible for the newer players. And while there will be some differences between the 50-player and 10-player vergences, the team has recognized the importance of maintaining a sense of continuity between both experiences. So it's not going to be too different, which I think is good. That kind of, makes sense. It's the same encounter pretty much, just a different type of way of experiencing it. And we look forward to watching how new players discover and master these mechanics in each setting. With the introduction of our new raid encounter, some of you might be wondering if we will continue to create raids in the future. This is definitely something that I've been wondering. I think a lot of people have been definitely wondering this. And the answer is pretty much as I was expecting as well. The short answer is maybe. So raids require a significant amount of development resources, but only a small subset of players engage with the 10-player group instance content, which is part of the reason that it's been 5 years since our last one. So this is, I don't know if they've ever publicly said this, but this was kind of what everyone assumed. So the new raid serves as a test to see how we can support raids moving forward. So basically, they are going to see how this goes, and if it goes really well, everyone likes it, and it seems to be a good path, then it seems like it is pretty possible that we will continue to get raids going forward. But yeah, if I suppose if everyone hates it or or for whatever reason it just doesn't work, then it seems like it's not impossible that this will actually be the last one. So it's pretty much just we'll see how the raid goes, and then we might finally get an answer for if we're going to continue getting the raids or not. Originally, we attempted to solve the cost problem with raids through strike missions, which was a new game mode developed to be a bridge between players and raids. If you don't know, strike missions were basically just sort of like simplified one boss encounters instead of like multi-boss large raids. And personally, I actually really like strike missions. So I was actually a little bit disappointed that the strike missions were getting replaced with a raid in this expansion. When I first saw that, like I'm definitely keen for a new raid, but there is a soft spot in my heart for strike missions. They are quite fun to me. We'll see. We'll have to see how this raid goes. This raid is going to have to replace strike missions for me, so it's going to have to be pretty good. So yeah, just basically they're saying this time instead of giving the players that bridge in the form of strikes, we're just giving them the raid content from the start in the form those interested in really want it. So the 10-man and the 50-man variants. So they do say here that the 10-man, the raid, is going to be more mechanics heavy, which is pretty cool. And then the players who prefer a large-scale open-world experience with fewer barriers to entry can also experience that content that way, which is going to be the convergence. Meanwhile, integrating raid content into the story let us fit its development into our annual release schedule, obviously. We're getting the annual expansion, so they have to be able to fit it into there. We aim to extend story assets to support raids and gauge players' reactions to raids that have been integrated into the story. So the raids are going to be more mechanics heavy, it seems. They're going to be, the story is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more heroic, whatever that means. Focus on the enemies more than the NPCs. And sometime after the raid's release in November, its challenge mode will be available after that as well. So challenge mode not on release, but just a little bit after. That is pretty standard, just so they can flat iron out any bugs and stuff like that. Additionally, players participating in the 10-player raid can anticipate a legendary challenge mode. So we have known that it's going to have a legendary challenge mode, but this is the first time we have actually got the confirmation that it will come with another purple title. So that's pretty cool. Basically, with the previous expansion, Secrets of the Obscure, we got our first legendary challenge mode, which was essentially the hardest content in the game, and the people who were able to complete that were given the first ever purple title, Legendary Conqueror of Ceres, and that has been the one and only purple title for quite some time. It looks like we may be getting a new one of these with each expansion. If this pattern continues, I was kind of wondering if we were going to get like a new color for each one. I was actually kind of hoping that wouldn't be the case, because, you know, there's just going to be so many colors in no time at all, and then it's going to get rid of the, you know, the cool factor of the purple, the colored titles. I think I like this. I like how they're all purple, like all of the PvE related ones are all purple. But there is a part of me as well that's kind of like, oh, well, the purple used to be kind of associated with Ceres, and now it's going to be just kind of associated with, you know, just legendary challenge modes in general, which is fine, but it's just like the people, yeah, you know, it's the Ceres title is losing something. It's losing the fact that it's the unique only purple title in the game. Now there's going to be two. But, you know, this is pretty cool, and I'm wondering, only time will tell, what is this next title going to be called? Legendary Conqueror of Titans? Who knows? We've got another screenshot here. Looks like from the same very mountainous map. And we've got this interesting crater here. And this looks like it is going to be somewhat related to the Titans, I think. Just these rocky shards. They kind of look like those Titans that we've seen a little bit so far. This looks like an impact site to me. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but it kind of looks like a crater, right? Like a meteoric impact site. Like, are the Titans from space or something? Like, I wonder what the story is behind that. And now we've got some information on the convergences. So this is quite interesting. We're getting some information on how convergences are going to be going forwards. So how they differ from the ones that we've got from Secrets of the Obscure, as well as the couple of things that are staying the same. So the Coden Cubs huddle closely around the village's claw, which from a previous blog post we were told that the claw is like sort of like the leader of the village. Their eyes wide with awe and excitement as he begins to recount a harrowing tale. It's a story of bravery and strategy in which a band of 50 fearless Tyrians embarked on a daring mission as they ascended the mountain. So that's us, I assume. 50 Tyrians, 50 fearless Tyrians, that's the 50 people in the convergence. So it seems like it's going to be like a story, like the village elder is like recounting a story to the Coden Cubs about us, I suppose. The tale unfolds as you take up the challenge in this encounter. You will find a strong ally in your Warclaw mount, which will aid in this new adventure. So it's going to involve the Warclaw mount heavily, by the sounds of this. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm a little worried that we might have to jump on our mounts and, spam one ability or something. Not a fan of that, but hopefully they've found a way to kind of make it a bit more interesting, the mounted combat gameplay. And yeah, this is an interesting premise. So it's like, what are we going to be like performing the story as it's being told? Like we're like live reenacting the story or something like that? It sounds like an interesting concept. Listen closely as the village's claw weaves the narrative. Each encounter promises unexpected challenges and thrilling surprises. So perhaps we're going to get like, it sounds like we might want to turn that dialogue up. Maybe he's going to give you some cryptic hints on how to complete difficult parts of the convergence, perhaps. During your encounters with these enemies, you might observe a noticeable shift in difficulty. Now, this is something that I think a lot of people are going to be quite interested in. Compared to what you've experienced in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, it's going to be harder. We've fine-tuned these bosses to present a more advanced challenge than in previous convergences, necessitating coordinated efforts from all party members to secure victory. No more leeching in convergences. So it sounds like they've taken some of the feedback from the previous convergences and Secrets of the Obscure, which if you've done any of those, you'll discover that there is quite a few people who leech them, and it also can sometimes get pretty bad, where it results in failure. But it's only because I feel like it's only because they kind of can be leeched. They're a little bit simple, and the challenge modes of the convergences definitely helped that. But it looks like, from the sounds of this, even just the normal convergences are going to be a little bit more difficult than the Secrets of the Obscure ones, which I think is pretty good. That sounds promising. Completing convergences in Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds will award players with essences that can be used to craft legendary gear. And yes, these essences will be compatible with the legendary obsidian armor, which was available in SOTO, as well as the new legendary spear and legendary backpack that we're getting with the following updates in Janthir Wilds. So this is a pretty interesting piece of information as well. So the essences that we've got in the Secrets of the Obscure, these tier 1, 2, and 3 essences are called Essences of Despair, Greed, and Triumph, respectively. It's a little bit like convoluted, like just the weird, strange names of them. I kind of found myself kind of hoping that they would rename them, but it sounds like these are going to be different essences that are going to be compatible with these. Just the way that this is worded, that's what it sounds like to me. So you're going to get a separate type of essences, and these are just going to be called, like, standardized. They're just going to be called Rift essences, but they're going to be compatible, basically perform the same role as these SOTO essences that we've got, which is kind of like, I'm not sure if that's actually making it more convoluted or not, but at least it's giving us more options of content to do to complete any of these legendaries. Like if you're working on your obsidian armor now, when this comes out, you're going to have an extra option of content to play in order to work on that, you know, for example, I did not have when I was getting my obsidian armor. I'm not sure if the SOTO essences are going to be also compatible in the other direction, like if these secrets of the obscure essences are going to be able to be used to craft the new spear and the new backpack. I'm not too sure about that. It doesn't really say, so I guess we'll have to wait and see, but it kind of sounds like maybe not. And to be honest, I kind of hope that is the case. You know, I kind of want a brand new grind to go after with the new legendary spear and the new backpack. I'm probably not going to be getting the backpack. I've already got a legendary backpack, but with the new spear, I kind of hope that it's not going to be, I can't just use essences on that too. I hope it's something new, to be honest. But yeah, that is quite interesting. Bit of information there. I definitely wasn't expecting that. We hope you enjoyed hearing about some of the post-launch content coming to Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. We'll see you in tier. This is the second time they've mentioned that this is not coming on launch. I think they're trying to be very clear that this is not something that is coming on the initial launch of Janthir Wilds. The convergences and the raids are coming on the first quarterly update after the initial expansion launch. So there you go. That is the news. Let me know what you reckon down below. What do you reckon about the first little dripplings of information we've got about the new raid wing? What do you reckon about this as well? The sort of new essences from convergences. Does that sound more convoluted to you? Or, you know what? Essences from convergences will be renamed Rift essences. Rift essences, that's what these are. These are Rift, like I got these from Rifts, not convergences. So maybe it is just renaming these. Maybe we're not going to get two different versions. Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm not 100% sure from the wording. But yeah, thanks for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. And I'll see you guys in the next one.